Okay, guys, you are going to be in for a treat with this video. This is a comment made recently from one of my vocal critics, and all I was trying to do was help the guy out when I made a comment on his channel about petroglyphs. So he's continuing throwing these words at me, and he says, "Wow, you really are a piece of work. First off, I did not make a video about petroglyphs. I made a video about spending the day with my father, exploring a canyon in the high desert, and came across some petroglyphs. I think it would be pretty obvious to most people watching my video that by my comments I have no knowledge as to the origin or meaning of these, nor do I want anybody to think I do. Next, throwing around a few names of so-called experts and then claiming to have listened to them for hours by no means gives your personal statements any credibility. None. Zero. Zilch. Again, looking at pictures on the internet and listening to audio of people who have actually gone out and done field work, collaborated with others who have done so and been published on their findings is no measure of expertise." So, maybe if I travel around the world and personally take pictures of all of these things, and then maybe I could become an expert if the mainstream would publish a paper of mine. So let's proceed to obliterate this gentleman's notions. Rather than look at the information, he just chooses to cling to ignorance and throw words at me. These images were sent to me by subscriber JB Murdoch earlier today. And she explained to me that her boyfriend is doing some work on anthropology in Tanzania, and that nobody really knows about these images. And I'm awaiting more images and information from YouTuber JB Murdoch. And these are beautiful because they are the classic trident type, double-ended trident type of images that we see. The plasma discharges, the stickman type of images that we see everywhere. And JB Murdoch mentions that her boyfriend is very intrigued by this whole theory, but he can't really share it or even discuss it because, he's trying to get his degree, and he'll be dismissed and shunned. And this is why progress is stalled, because you can't get into the mainstream unless you conform. JB Murdoch also told me that the locals and the other mainstream anthropologists believe that these were three-legged horned cows. And these plasma discharges at one point did have horns, but they're just plasma features that were morphing, Northern Lights type of morphing plasma under this intense, super high electromagnetic phenomenon that was occurring. And in a previous video, I talked about these so-called bighorn sheep. But they are not bighorn sheep. It's another plasma formation, and we continue to see it. Here it is again. And again. And if you're a first-time listener, this is also the origin of the ancient Jewish menorah. Saturn is Kronos. Kronos is the original Helios, the god Helios. Diodorus Siculus of Sicily reported that the Chaldeans called Kronos, which is Saturn, by the name Helios, or the sun. And as a true mainstreamer, he explained that this was because Saturn was the most conspicuous of the planets. Yeah, okay. They called it Helios because Saturn was Helios, the sun. Some other images I haven't seen until today is the origins of the Egyptian god Thoth. It's just variations of the stickman petroglyphs, the double-ended trident, the trident that Poseidon, Zeus, and Lucifer and all the others have. This original Saturn god is the ancient god of 1,000 names because there's so many regions. Lucifer, the light bearer, beautiful until he wasn't, became the devil that damn near killed everyone. Now, this is the same thing here. Okay, the Bible says, do not worship Baal any longer. Here is ancient Baal. It's not a demon. Okay, Baal is simply, it was God that people worshipped as God, the Saturn sun that went all bad. It's the same thing. Sometimes arms up, sometimes arms straight out, sometimes arms down. It's a morphing, this plasma twisting under this extremely high electromagnetic current. Okay, this is what this is. Baal is not a demon. And were people sacrificing their children to Baal? Well, it seems as if they were, because they were so desperate. They didn't know what else to do. They were going mad. And somehow this seemed like the thing to do. Because Kronos appeared to be eating his own children. And so maybe if we sacrifice children, okay, I don't know what the mindset was. But this is Baal. Baal is the plasma of the cataclysm. And the ancient Saturn sun. And this is all the same type of thing in a different region. And these people, they didn't know what the hell was going on, what it was. They figured God was revealing something to them, punishing them, showing them something, manifesting himself. And so they personified it, and they took on these symbols. And, you know, they see something that looks like a bighorn sheep in the sky, a plasma-looking horned animal. And so, you know, you get this cow worship. You get all this documentation of what looked like a bighorn sheep. And so I am no expert, but I am open-minded, and I seek the truth. And these things are already known by a community of people online, the Electric Universe community. And those who shut it out they just want to remain ignorant and in the dark, because they don't want to think that they've been wrong this whole time. And what could this be? We'll look at that in a second. You know, these people, they were not just poor artists with little skill and imagination. They were trying to duplicate and replicate exactly what they were seeing. They were just as good as artists as people are today. Like I said, sometimes arms down, arms straight out, arms up. It was a twisting, morphing phenomenon. And like I've said before, this is bombshell information and imagery. This is what this is. And it is thrilling to finally understand and know about our electric universe. They very carefully tried to replicate exactly what they were seeing. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.